In 2007, 30 years after Joe Tarricone disappeared, and just a few months after his bones were discovered behind the house on Canyon Road, detectives finally had a break in the case. Nick Notaro, the son of one of the home's former residents, said his mother, Geraldine Hess, was responsible for Joe's killing.
When we asked Nicholas why this happened, he said that Joseph would not leave Renee alone. He wanted a relationship with Renee, and he wasn't taking no for an answer. He was hounding her. He was always trying to get her into bed. So Geraldine, according to Nicholas, took it upon herself to solve the problem. His mother, Geraldine, had shot and killed Joseph Tarricone, and she put him in the freezer in the basement at her house in Puyallup, chopped him up with a chainsaw, and buried him in the backyard.
Something about Nick Notaro's blunt revelation seemed suspicious to investigators. And because his mother, Geraldine, had passed away years earlier, there was no way it could be proven.
The story that he gave made no sense. Joseph would have been too heavy for Geraldine to pick up by herself and put in the freezer. And we told him that we didn't believe his story. I told Nicholas that I believed that he and his sisters had something to do with killing Joseph Tarricone. And his reaction was, my sisters had nothing to do with this whatsoever. That was basically all it took. And he said, yeah, that he was the one that shot Joe.
Detective Benson had a hunch that Nick Notaro didn't act alone, so he asked Nick to explain exactly how the murder took place.
Nicholas said that they were upstairs in the house, and he told Joseph that they were having a problem with the washing machine, and he asked him to come downstairs to take a look at the washing machine to see if he could determine what was wrong. And when they got to the basement and Joe leaned over the washing machine, Nicholas came up behind him and shot him in the head.
Notaro went on to explain how he used a chainsaw to dismember Joe, but Detective Benson, who was carefully listening to every word, found a flaw in Notaro's story.
He said that we went to the store to buy the chainsaw. We said, you said we went to buy the chainsaw. Who went with you to buy the chainsaw? I asked him who the we was. And he said, I don't remember. He didn't say it was my mom. He said, I can't remember. That was the significant piece right there that told us that there was somebody else there besides Geraldine. But he stuck to his story that Renee had nothing to do with it. He said that she was living in Hawaii at the time, and that after he had done this, he and his mother were the two that dismembered Joe in the basement. And that he then buried him in the backyard.
Detective Benson had all he needed to arrest Nick Notaro for the murder of Joseph Tarricone.
There wasn't much of a reaction from him. He stood up and was cooperative, and we handcuffed him and walked him out of the building and handed him over to some patrol deputies, and they transported him to jail.
My thoughts on Nick's story, that he did this on his own, I certainly don't believe that. I don't think he has the mental capability to do it. I believe he would do it on order of his sister.
Nicholas didn't have a reason to kill Joseph Tarricone unless Renee put him up to it.
But was Renee Curtis, a pretty 25-year-old with no police record, really an accomplice to murder? Detective Benson was determined to find out.
So now our next step is to go talk to Renee.